you in this webinar on orientation program for faculty and students related to Vidyanjali Higher Education Volunteer Program, Ministry of Education, Government of India. I extend a warm welcome to the Professor Rajiv Kumar, Honorable Member Secretary AICTE, Dr. Amit Datta Sir, Student Director, Student Development Cell AICTE, and all the dignitary guests for gracing this event with their presence. It is our culture to remember the God Almighty before everything we do or start. So let us begin this function seeking the blessing and presence of the God Ma Saraswati. Brijmohan, please play the Saraswati Vandana.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा.
Thank you. Now, at the outset, I would like to invite Professor Rajiv Kumar, Member Secretary AICTE. I'm so sorry. I would like to invite Dr. Amit Datta Sir for the welcome address.
Thank you, Sanjuji. Good afternoon. Respected Member Secretary of AICTE, Professor Rajiv Kumar Sir. Respected Vice Chancellor from the State of Jammu and Kashmir, registrars and dignitaries, and one and all, it's my proud privilege to address this august gathering of visionary academic leaders. With the outset of this evening, I'd like to say the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, the educational environment across the country has been seriously disrupted. Due to the closure of the institution, and it has impacted millions of the students in the higher education across all the disciplines from the science, humanities, social science, engineering, management, etc. It has also hampered the research environment across the country due to the non-availability of labs for the experimental and publishing the research paper and so on. In order to provide the educational support to the students, institutions have provided the support with the help of online classes. However, it has further widened the gap between the rich and the indigent student of our country, who find it very difficult to bridge the gap due to the less affordability of the digital devices, laptop, desktop, and all other electronic devices which are helpful in the online studying. In view of their high costs, along with the non-availability of high-speed internet connections, especially in the rural area of the country. So the number of studies published during this period highlighted the issue of the affordability of the digital devices among the different sections of the society. In addition to the above, a large-scale capacity building of the faculty across higher educational institutions in the emerging and the thrust areas to be initiated. Similarly, the higher educational institutions also need support towards the upgradation of their infrastructure and maintenance of their existing one. The National Education Policy 2020 also talked about the outcome-based learning, skill upgradation in the emerging areas, revising assessment system, incorporating human values in students, multidisciplinary approach in education, in order to provide the continuous educational support to the students, faculty as institutions. There is an urgent need to engage with them and provide them the holistic support, academic as well as the infrastructure. The program involving community volunteers mainly faculty, or we can say the retired servicemen serving and retired as a scientist, as a government officers, semi-government officials, retired from armed forces personnel, self-employed and salaried professionals, alumni of the educational institutions, non-resident Indians, person of Indian origin, even the homemakers, the recipient of fellowship, NSS, NCC cadets, the support from the industry also under the CSR. This would be a great support towards the hand-holding in this direction. This Vidyanjali, higher education for support to the student and faculty members, will provide the institutional through the volunteerism is a unique step forward towards the creating the volunteerism and foster the benefits both ways by promoting volunteerism through volunteer contribution or selfless service on one hand, and by helping learners, faculty, institutions overcome their educational capacity building and infrastructure. So this is one of the flagship program of AICT for the higher and technical education for the Vidyanjali. I welcome you all, sir, for joining us today, and we are having a great confidence and great responsibility on your shoulders to create the volunteerism in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to invite Professor Rajiv Kumar, Member Secretary, AICTE, to address the attendees of this event.
Good afternoon to each and everyone. Respected Professor Farooq Ahmed Shahji, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Kashmir, Professor Sanjeev Jain, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Jammu, Professor Mehrajuddin, former Vice Chancellor, Central University of Kashmir, Professor Mohammad Afzal Jargar, Registrar, Central University of Kashmir, Professor Arvind, Registrar, University of Jammu, Dr. Mir Nisar Ahmed, Registrar, University of Kashmir, my friends from AICTE, Dr. Amit Datta, Director, Student Development Cell, Dr. Sanju Chaudhary, Assistant Director, Student Development Cell, and dear attendees of this important orientation program on a very different type of initiative taken by the government, AICTE, Government of India, that is known as the Vidyanjali. तो आज इस ओरिएंटेशन प्रोग्राम का जो मकसद है वो मेन मकसद ये है कि इस ओरिएंटेशन इस विद्यांजलि पोर्टल के बारे में हम आपस में सब एक दूसरे को जान सकें कि ये क्या इनिशिएटिव है, किस तरीके से इसमें भागीदार बना जा सकता है और किस तरीके से इसका फायदा उठाया जा सकता है। इस ओरिएंटेशन प्रोग्राम का मकसद केवल इतना है। तो मैं सबसे पहले आप सभी का स्वागत करना चाहूंगा कि आप सब लोगों ने इसके महत्व को समझा और इसको अटेंड करने के लिए आप सब लोग आज यहाँ उपस्थित हैं। जैसा कि मेरे फ्रेंड अमित दत्ता ने बताया, वॉलंटियरिज्म, हम किस तरीके से वॉलंटियरिज्म सोसाइटी को में कर सकते हैं। हम सब ने, अगर मैं अपने आप को कहूँ, हमें बहुत कुछ सोसाइटी से मिला है और जब हम इस स्टेज पे पहुंचते हैं तो कभी कभी ये इच्छा होती है कि हम सोसाइटी को भी कुछ वापस कर सकें। मन में एक सोसाइटी को वापस करने की इच्छा होती है, लेकिन कोई एक फॉर्मल तरीका नहीं होता। मन में एक शंका रहती है कि हम जहाँ वॉलंटियरिज्म करने जा रहे हैं वो सही है या नहीं है। ये एक शंका सभी के मन में बनी रहती है। इसी शंका का निवारण करने के लिए AICTE, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन, भारत सरकार ने एक पोर्टल विकसित किया है। इस पोर्टल का नाम विद्यांजलि पोर्टल है। इस पोर्टल में अगर मैं किसी संस्था में कार्य करता हूं या संस्था को किसी चीज की आवश्यकता है, चाहे वो एक्सपर्टाइज की आवश्यकता हो, एक्सपर्टाइज में किसी सब्जेक्ट एक्सपर्ट की आवश्यकता हो, या हो सकता है आप एक स्कूल में या इसका ऐसे कॉलेज में हैं जिसमें आपको कुछ कंप्यूटर्स की आवश्यकता हो। थर्ड ये है कि आप कुछ छोटा मोटा कंस्ट्रक्शन कराना चाहते हैं, उसकी आवश्यकता हो, तो आपको ऐसे लोगों की आवश्यकता है जो इन चीजों को सपोर्ट कर सके। समाज में ऐसे बहुत से लोग हैं जो ये सब चीज करना चाहते हैं लेकिन उनको कोई माध्यम नहीं मिलता। तो ये एक मैच मेकिंग टाइप का पोर्टल है। इस पोर्टल में जो चीज आपको, जिस चीज की आवश्यकता है, एज ए इंस्टीट्यूशन आप रजिस्टर कर सकते हैं। एज ए वॉलंटियर मैं रजिस्टर कर सकता हूं कि मैं, हो सकता है मैं एआई अच्छी तरह से जानता हूं और मैं एक आशा करता हूं कि मैं एआई में आसपास के संस्थानों में बच्चों को पढ़ा सकता हूं। मैं इंडस्ट्री में काम करता हूं, इंडस्ट्री में आईओटी का क्या उपयोग होता है मैं अपने पास के बच्चों को बता सकता हूं। इस तरीके का माध्यम को हमने एक एक फॉर्मल वे देने का एक प्रयास किया है। ये एक प्रयास है जो एक नेशनलिज्म और वॉलंटियरिज्म दोनों को जगाता है। मेरा आप सबसे अनुरोध है कि आप एज ए इंस्टीट्यूशन आप इसमें रजिस्टर कर सकते हैं। अपनी इंस्टीट्यूशन की आवश्यकताओं को, जो जिन चीज को आप महसूस करते हैं कि इस संस्थान में इस चीज की आवश्यकता है, जो कि हम वॉलंटियरिज्म के माध्यम से समाज से पा सकते हैं। बहुत सी कंपनीज हैं जो सीएसआर के माध्यम से कुछ चीजें देना चाहती है। कोई 100 कंप्यूटर्स देना चाहता है किसी संस्थान को, लेकिन उसको कोई ऐसा माध्यम नहीं मिलता कि वो किस तरीके से दे। वो इस पोर्टल के माध्यम से आकर 100 कंप्यूटर्स एक नीडी संस्थान को दे सकता है। कोई एक इंडिविजुअल सोचता है कि मैं 1 लाख रुपया में किसी इंस्टीट्यूट में बच्चियों के टॉयलेट्स बनाना चाहता हूँ, या क्लासरूम बनाना चाहता हूँ, या चेयर्स खरीद कर देना चाहता हूँ, तो मैं उस माध्यम से उस संस्थान से जुड़ सकता हूँ। ये एक प्रयास है जो लोगों को आपस में जोड़ने का, रिसिपिएंट्स को, और जो वॉलंटियरिज्म करना चाहते हैं। ये मैच मेकिंग टाइप का पोर्टल है। मेरा एक निवेदन आप सभी से ये भी है कि बहुत से छात्र जो सपोज 3rd ईयर या 4th ईयर में पहुंच गए हैं, वो अपने 1st ईयर के छात्र की, अपने संस्थान के छात्र की या दूसरे संस्थानों के आसपास के छात्रों की हेल्प करना चाहते हैं। उनको लगता है कि मैं इस सब्जेक्ट में बहुत अच्छा हूं, तो वो भी एज ए वॉलंटियर रजिस्टर कर सकते हैं और अपना जो एक्सपर्टाइज है, अपनी जो नॉलेज है, शेयर कर सकते हैं। इसमें एक एहतियात आप सबको लेना है कि जब भी आप किसी वॉलंटियर को एक्सेप्ट करते हैं तो उसके क्रेडेंशियल्स आपको अपने लेवल पे वेरीफाई करने हैं। अगर मैंने एज ए वॉलंटियर कहा है कि मैं एआई पढ़ाऊंगा, तो आपको उसके क्रेडेंशियल्स को वेरीफाई करना है। इसको वेरीफाई करने का बहुत आसान तरीका है। आप सोशल मीडिया से या आसपास के लोगों से पता कर सकते हैं कि ये किस टाइप का है। अगर मैं किसी संस्थान का छात्र हूँ, एज ए वॉलंटियर मैंने रजिस्टर किया है, तो उसके संस्थान के टीचर से आप पता कर सकते हैं कि लड़का क्या वास्तव में एआई अच्छा पढ़ाता है, या आईओटी अच्छा पढ़ाता है, या कोई और सब्जेक्ट अच्छा पढ़ाता है, गणित अच्छा पढ़ाता है। ये जो क्रेडेंशियल्स को वेरीफाई करने की जिम्मेदारी है, ये संस्थानों की है, वॉलंटियर की। केवल ये एक मैकेनिज्म है जहां पर हम वॉलंटियर्स और रिसिपिएंट्स को आपस में जोड़ने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं। मेरा आपसे अनुरोध है कि इस पोर्टल को आप स्कूल से भी जोड़ सकते हैं। ये केवल हायर एजुकेशन के लिए नहीं है। जो आपके, जहां आप रहते हैं वहां आसपास के स्कूल्स हैं, आपको लगता है कि उस स्कूल में इस चीज की कमी है, तो आप उस स्कूल के प्रिंसिपल से कहें कि वो इससे जुड़े, इसमें अपने को रजिस्टर करें, और रजिस्टर करने के बाद हो सकता है कि वॉलंटियरिज्म के रूप में उसको सहायता जल्दी ही मिल जाए। तो इस प्रोग्राम के माध्यम से इसकी डिटेल जो है, किस तरीके से करना है, क्या करना है, ये हमारे ऑफिसर डॉक्टर अमित दत्ता आपको भी डिटेल में बताएंगे। ये एक इनिशिएटिव है जो कि इसमें कोई भी पैसा इन्वॉल्व नहीं है, एज फार एज गवर्नमेंट का है, चाहे किसी संस्थान का है, लेकिन एक जोड़ने का, आपस में लोगों को, आसपास के लोगों को जोड़ने का एक प्रयास है। वो एक सहायता प्रदान कर सकते हैं। तो मेरा आप सभी से इस प्रोग्राम के माध्यम से, इस वेबिनार के माध्यम से ये अनुरोध है कि इस इनिशिएटिव को जन जन तक पहुंचाएं, स्कूलों तक पहुंचाएं, कॉलेजों तक पहुंचाएं, ना ही कॉलेजों तक, स्कूलों तक पहुंचाएं। जो लोग इसमें वॉलंटियरिज्म कर सकते हैं, समाज का हर तबके का आदमी वॉलंटियरिज्म कर सकता है। वॉलंटियरिज्म एजुकेशन के रूप में हो सकती है, कुछ आइटम्स प्रोवाइड करके मॉनिटरी के रूप में हो सकती है। वॉलंटियरिज्म हर तरीके से हो सकती है। कोई इंडस्ट्री का रिटायर्ड आदमी इंडस्ट्री में किस तरीके से काम हो सकता है, हमारे बच्चों को बता सकता है, वो भी एक वॉलंटियरिज्म है। तो हर तरह की वॉलंटियरिज्म को करने का इसमें प्रावधान है। तो मैं आप सभी का इस प्रोग्राम में जुड़ने के लिए, इस इनिशिएटिव को आगे ले जाने के लिए मैं बहुत बहुत आपसे गुजारिश करता हूं कि आप इसको लेके जाएंगे, और ये एक जम्मू एंड कश्मीर में एक मोमेंट बन के आएगा, ऐसी मेरी आशा और अपेक्षा है। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ आप सबको बहुत बहुत नमस्कार, धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. Now it is my pleasure to invite Professor Farooq Ahmed Shah, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Central University of Kashmir, to address the online gathering.
Thank you, Dr. Sanju Chaudhary. Thank you for inviting me. Professor Rajiv Kumar, Honorable Member Secretary, AICT, New Delhi. Professor Merajdin Mir, former Vice Chancellor, Central University of Kashmir. Dr. Amit Datta, Director, Student Development Cell, AICT, New Delhi. My colleagues from the university, my colleagues from other universities, a very good afternoon, a very good evening. To begin with, it's my privilege to be a part of this program, this online program, which is a orientation program for faculty and students under VIDYANJALI Higher Education Volunteer Program, Ministry of Education. You see, VIDYANJALI Higher Education Scheme has been an initiative by the Ministry of Education. It's an initiative that is aimed at inculcating and promoting volunteerism among citizens, among NGOs, professionals, retired, serving teachers, faculty, other people who have expertise in their respective fields, even alumni who have passed out from the institution, because it is now our turn to pay back to the institution why we have served. And the focus of this volunteerism program is to contribute to the institutional system by way of expertise, by way of knowledge, know-how, by way of, sponsoring projects, sponsoring programs, sponsoring learning programs, teaching learning programs. And not only that, but it's also extendable to providing some kind of equipment to the development of the labs, classrooms, making some kind of contribution in terms of creation of assets for the education institutions. And we understand it that it is very, very much required, because given the number and the level of this, the landscape of the higher education system in India, there are around 55,000 higher education institutions, which of course include 1,000 plus universities, 42,000 plus colleges, 12,000 plus the student, higher education institutions, other higher education institutions. So given the huge number of these higher education institutions, it's obviously not possible for the government to effectively run, monitor, supplement, and then provide all the kinds of necessary facilities for effective maintenance and administration of these institutions. So therefore, the ball is in our court that we as private individuals, whether we are Indian citizens, whether we are, NRIs, whether we are retired, whether we are serving, we have to pay back to the system. I'm reminded of one theory in anthropology, in sociology, which is known as social contracts theory. And this social contracts theory basically tells us that we are all a part of the system, and we have to contribute to the social development. Because I, being a teacher of management, I teach my students business ethics. And more often I quote this example to the students, that why should we tolerate all the bad things that companies cause to the environment, to the society, in terms of environment, in terms of ecology and all that, because they produce, along with the goods and services, they produce a lot of pollution and all, create a lot of pollution, all that. So the thing is that we tolerate these companies, so they are supposed to pay back to the society, and that is how the CSR concept has been visualized and how it has been formalized. We have seen that the Companies Act 2013 has even made it mandatory for all the companies that they have to pay back to the society in terms of sparing some money for the social development, for the development of all the social arena. And that is why I suppose that it's a welcome step that this concept of CSR has been now extended to the education institutions, wherein not only the companies and the organizations and the NGOs have been asked, but the individuals who are basically an element in the entire social system. They are supposed to make their contribution to pay back to the system, because whatever they are having, their kind of expertise, the kind of skill they have, the kind of resources, the kind of know-how and knowledge they have obtained it from the system, from this social system, and they are supposed to pay back to the society in this perspective. And that is why this initiative has been there, And I'm sure that there has been again such initiative in case of school education. To be personally, I was not aware that this initiative has been there, but it's for the first time that, to my knowledge, I have come to understand. And it's a very wonderful system, provided it is implemented and executed with the real spirit. And we understand that the enrollment is very large in the higher education institutions, around 4 crore students, 15 lakh faculty, and then non-teaching this staff. So this is a huge system, and let us not put everything on the government, on the formal systems. We have to come out and contribute at our own individual level, and this is a very wonderful system, because NEP also envisages, NEP also mandates that there has to be a collaboration and cooperation and partnership. And when you talk of this collaboration and partnership, it doesn't mean collaboration with the institutions only. It means collaboration from whosoever can contribute. So if I as individual has the technical knowledge, I have the skill, and I want to share it and provide it back to the society, to the students, the faculty, in terms of training, in terms of sponsoring their trips, in terms of creation of facilities like classrooms, labs, or providing computers and chairs and tables and all these things, whatever is required for effective teaching learning system. I have to do a bit about it. So that is the real spirit between collaboration, if we refer it if we talk in terms of NEP 2020. So I'm sure that this workshop, this orientation program, shall prove a very productive and fruitful, especially for our state, for our union territory of J&K. For the first time, we are observing that such kind of orientation is being organized. And I'm sure that given the detailed document that has been prepared by AICT under this scheme, for this Vidyanjali Heritage scheme, it's a very, very detailed, comprehensive guideline, a handbook that has been made available. And I'm sure that if we are very serious and we are very sincere towards social service in the real sense, we have to implement and execute this scheme. I assure AICT and all other my colleagues from on the other side that we at the Central University of Kashmir will try our best, because we have had a tradition in our university under the supervision, under the guidance, dynamic leadership of my predecessor, Professor Miraj Mir. We have already had this kind of, this kind of concepts, this kind of spirit institutionalized already in the institution by virtue of inviting people to contribute to the university. We have had a lot of structure that have been created under this scheme, but of course at the informal level. Now this has to be a formal kind of system. I assure you that our university will take forward this and will achieve the objective for this Vidyanjali, this higher education volunteer program has been conceived and has been made public. Thank you very much. I hope that this workshop, this orientation program will achieve its objective. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I would like to invite Professor Mehrajuddin, former Vice Chancellor, Central University of Kashmir, to say a few words on this occasion.
Thank you very much, madam, for this golden opportunity. At the very outset, I am thankful to ICT and Professor Amit Datta Saab and Professor Rajiv Kumarji and Professor Farooq Saab, who have spelled out about the contribution and the spirit for which this orientation program is being organized. I had a long association with AICTE, and wherein I know about various academic ventures of AICTE, which are purely oriented in the direction of quality control in technical education. And now of late, so far as the mandate of new National Education Policy 2020 is concerned, as it has been rightly pointed out by Dr. Rajiv Kumar, we have to get ourselves connected now, not only with the colleges, but with the schools. It is a time when we need to work in a very close cooperation. It may be a school, it may be a college, it may be a university. No doubt the new education policy has also come up with different types of the universities. I may not go in detail so far as what is mandated in respect of different levels of the universities, research, PG, UG, and something like that. But nevertheless, I know so far as contribution of AICTE is concerned, and it is a very good step which of late has been initiated and which Professor Farooq Saab also spelled out, that we have to take the support from everyone, whosoever he or she may be, whether it is in a formal way with the formal institution, or whether it is as identified by Professor Amit Datta Saab, whether it is in anybody's individual capacity. At time reaches in the life of an individual when he wants to contribute, and once he reaches to that very level, then the another issue comes in his or her life, how to contribute. And especially, it may not be necessarily in terms of the wealth, it can be in terms of knowledge sharing and what he has acquired by virtue of his or her experience over the decades, what challenges he has faced and how he has met those challenges over the decades, and what were the issues and what was the law of the land on those issues and how those issues were dealt with in a logical manner. Well, I think if we can get such a support from senior people who are working in the universities, in the colleges, in the industries, or have superannuated after contributing for their entire career, perhaps I think it shall be a new addition so far as the contribution of AICTE is concerned. Yes, it is a matter of fact, since long time has gone from the dawn of our independence, and now we have the people who have an ocean of knowledge, who have a tremendous experience at their level. You may talk of any subject, you may talk of any discipline, you will get a good number of the people who want to contribute both in terms of wealth as well as in terms of the knowledge sharing. As Professor Farooq Saab mentioned, we did our best in an informal way, and we were in a position to get support of some of the well-wishers of the university, wherein apart without, we had not to adhere to the codal procedure. They were kind enough to raise some of the constructions on their own for the university, which paved a way for the university to shift from rental buildings to its own constructions, to its own structures. That way, the need of the time is we must identify the people who are ready to volunteer and who are in a position to create a group of volunteers who want to contribute so far as education, maybe school education, higher secondary education, and higher education is concerned. And I must submit, no doubt I have taught at the university level, but you can come across the teachers who have taught school level for decades. Even, am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Who have a command even more than that of the university teachers on the subject by virtue of their experience, because they have dealt with the students who were in the initial stage of their getting education, of their sharpening their skills. We at the university get the students who are in the final stage of their being shaped in a proper perspective. As I said, I do admit, even there are school teachers, they are the teachers who have worked in the high secondary schools, they are the teachers who have worked in political colleges or some of the technical colleges, who know better than that of any university scholar, because university scholars' mindset is limited towards a particular area or towards a minute area. But a school teacher, technical institution teacher, gave a command so far as the technical subjects are concerned. And I'm sure that with this new chapter which AICT is going to add to it is a vast contribution, it will give new direction so far as school education, education at the higher secondary level, or education at the university level is concerned. And it will also provide a bridge between school, secondary, and that of the higher education. Thank you very much for this golden opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing with us your guidance. Now we reach towards the end of this program. I would like to thank all the dignitaries who joined this program and for giving us their valuable informative guidance. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the attendees of this event to make this event a successful event. And once again, thank you, all of you, for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. So with the permission of all dignitaries, so we are now concluding the event, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Post